Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Movie Time with Matt and Derek. I'm Matthew Lyons.
And I'm Derek Terrell.
And today we will be discussing our predictions for the 94th Annual Academy Awards ceremony. Derek, how are you today?
Doing well, Matt. Spring break is wrapping up. Had a busy spring break, but a good busy. So not quite ready to go back to school, but definitely ready to talk about some movies today.
For sure. This has been kind of a long, or at least it feels long to me, award season. And I think from what I can remember, this is like the most unpredictable Academy Awards I think I personally have seen. There's a lot of things up in the air, especially in like the acting categories.
Yeah.
It seems like usually there's like a couple categories where you know they're going to win or they're going to win. I have my predictions, obviously, as do you. But I think there's definitely going to be some unexpected turnouts.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, even last year, there was some unexpected twists. Yeah. And this one, looking at our lineup here right now, it's all very up in the air. A lot of my picks, I'm not even like 100% on, and even in the last few days, I've like flip-flopped on them, as we approach the show. So, I mean, it's really, a lot of these are anyone's game, and a lot of them, although I don't say they're all anyone's game, I feel like a lot of them there's like 2 or 3 picks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear what you have to say, and ready to get into it.
All right, so let's start off with Best Supporting Actor.
All right, let's do it.
This is usually the first in the very long ceremony, so it only makes sense that we start with it here. So for the nominees, we have Kieran Hines from Belfast, Troy Coster from Coda, Jesse Plemons, Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons, Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for Power of the Dog as well. Derek, who do you think will win the coveted Best Supporting Actor?
So I'm pretty split on this one. I want it to be Cody because like deaf actor, I think it would be really cool.
Troy.
Oh, sorry, did I say that wrong? Oh yeah. Sorry. All right, yeah, I think that would be super cool. I don't know how many deaf actors have won.
I believe there was.
I think there's one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, one. So I think that would be super cool. But I don't know. Jesse Plemons made such a great performance as well. So I'm pretty torn. But I'm probably gonna go with Jesse Plemons. Is where I'm gonna land on that. I really liked his performance in Power of the Dog. I think he did well.
Yeah. Everyone in Power of the Dog did.
I know. I feel like we're gonna be talking about that film a lot today.
Definitely. Yeah.
It was great, and Jesse Plemons was a big factor, making sure it was great and helping it be successful.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, I think it's going to be Troy Coster.
Okay.
Like you said,
Yeah,
he was really good in the movie, especially one scene towards the end on the back of a pickup truck. Really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And it was just such a natural performance. There's a lot of humor in that role, and then he obviously nailed the dramatic stuff as well.
Yeah.
He felt like just a real regular person. That's a testament to mostly his performance and the writing as well. So I think he's going to win. He also did take home the SAG Award, which was fantastic. But the big contender with him is Cody Smith-McPhee for Power of the Dog. He won the Golden Globe, so it's kind of going back and forth. Jesse Plemons is also in there for Power of the Dog.
Yeah.
Kieran Hines and J.K. Simmons. I don't think J.K. Simmons will win. He won an Oscar for Whiplash, and his role wasn't as kind of impactful in Being the Ricardos.
Yeah.
He's J.K. Simmons. He always brings the goods.
He's great. Yeah.
He's fantastic. We all know it.
We love him in Invincible.
We do love him in Invincible.
That's for sure.
Definitely. But I think that I would like to see Troy Coster win, and I think he or Cody Smith-McPhee will win.
Okay, cool.
So let's move on to Best Supporting Actress.
Let's do it.
We have Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Judi Dench from Belfast, Ariana DeBose from West Side Story, Kirsten Dunst, Power of the Dog, and Anjanou Ellis for King Richard. This is this is one of the more kind of like surefire ones for me.
Really?
I think it will most likely go to Ariana DeBose from West Side Story. She won the Golden Globe and the SAG Awards, so she's definitely the front runner. However, Anjanou Ellis, she is getting a lot of traction for King Richard. She was absolutely incredible. Yeah. It's definitely Will Smith's movie, but she comes and she is right there with him. Every scene that she's in, she definitely nails that character and goes toe to toe with this unstoppable force of Will Smith's character. I think she could be the upset here, and especially like as the award season kind of goes on. Even though Ariana's definitely been the front runner, like the cheers of her name are kind of growing and growing. I would love to see her win, but I do think it's going to be Ariana's night for Best Supporting Actress.
I definitely agree. I mean, she sang, she danced, she cried. Like, it was
Did the whole
great.
nine,
You know what I mean? The range of that performance was just so amazing. And, it was just it was a great film and a great performance. So I'm going to have to agree with you.
Yeah, especially, the original film is so praised and widely regarded. And for this film,
to live up to it.
To live up and a lot of people say exceed. And especially that major character. She did a fantastic job.
I don't want to go without mentioning Kristen Dunst. I mean, she did very well, but I don't know if she really has too much of a chance against these other ones. I mean, this one, I think this one's a pretty surefire shot, especially looking at the other award ceremonies and how the votes have gone.
I would like to see either. We love Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst. They're a great power couple. It was great to see them in this film. But I think they might be going home empty-handed, which is a little bit sad.
Yeah, for sure. I love Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons is great. Yeah. And, even in some smaller stuff, I mean, we watched Jungle Cruise, and he was fun in that. You know what I mean? So, we'll see what happens. What's next?
Next up, let's talk about Best Adapted Screenplay.
Let's do it.
So for the nominees, we have Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. Yeah. Who do you think will win the Best Adapted Screenplay?
It's got to be Power of the Dog. I really think so. I mean, usually if this, is in the Best Picture, if the Best Picture aligns with this, it's usually similar. Not always, but, oftentimes. And I just thought it was so good. The Power of the Dog was so amazing. I really liked Dune as well, but I don't know if it has the chops to topple Power of the Dog. I mean, that's the movie everyone's talking about going into the Oscars.
Yeah, definitely. I think Dune is definitely going to get a lot of love, but in a lot of the other categories.
I agree. I have it for a lot of other stuff.
The thing about Power of the Dog and its screenplay, the reason it stands out is just the characters in the film. Yeah. Their motivations, they're like so complex in the film. And the way it starts and ends, the transformations that kind of happen, and the way these characters kind of grow and change, it's really extraordinary. It definitely seems like from the novel it was based on, that like it might be kind of hard to translate to film. Yeah. Just because like the characters are so complex, and in terms of the acting with Cody Smith-McPhee and Benedict Cumberbatch especially, them with the great screenplay from Jane Campion, they really had this perfect marriage together. Yeah. And I do think that is most likely to win Best Adapted Screenplay. Yeah,
definitely agree.
So I agree with you there. Let's look at the original screenplay.
Let's do it.
So we have Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. I don't know about you, but I'm not too certain on the outcome of this one.
Yeah, I have King Richard down.
Okay.
And that might be hopeful because I really liked this movie. I saw the trailer. I thought it looked very interesting. I loved the message or the pitch that the trailer gave me, and I was excited to watch it. And I ended up really getting caught up in the emotion of this and the gravity of the story, and I really, really enjoyed it. So, that's the one that I'm rooting for at least. I think, like you said, since it's kind of up in the air, it could go a lot of ways. That's kind of how I settled it. I was oh, okay, this is the one I want to win, so I'm gonna manifest it
for
here.
sure. And,
since it feels like it's so close, Well, what were you thinking?
It's so tough. I think it's going to be between Belfast and The Worst Person in the World.
Okay.
So, Don't Look Up has a great script. That was kind of like a polarizing movie. A lot of people didn't like it, and a lot of people really, really loved it.
I know that you did visit the set of this film.
I did visit. Well, here's the thing. I did visit the set. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Waiting for at least a trailer. Netflix is very stingy with the trailers. They wait like just weeks until, and then just oh, it's coming soon. It's like,
as a
where was
Cobra
this?
Kai fan, I like feel this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. So I did visit the set. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I can't wait to see it. And the set that I saw was in the film for, I want to say, probably about 2 to 3 seconds.
Oh yeah.
So I was very, very much looking forward to this film, and I think my expectations were a little bit too high.
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily live up to them. But Adam McKay, I believe he did win for his script for Vice. So he's got some gold before. And he's a very talented filmmaker, both in film and television. So I don't think he's going to win Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah.
But I think Belfast has a chance. This was Kenneth Branagh's very personal story.
Yeah.
Not for everyone. A lot of people didn't like this film. A lot of people kind of criticized it for being like Oscar bait, the movie.
Yeah, right.
It's very much like Roma and like your typical Oscar art house film.
For sure.
And The Worst Person in the World. I saw this film in theaters. It's a foreign film. And it was really good. It's really interesting the way it's broken up into like different chapters. And it takes a very honest and very current look at what it is to be an adult and like figuring out what you want to do and kind of throwing things out and trying new things.
That's cool. I didn't get a chance to see that one, but I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I think it's coming on streaming soon. Nice. So definitely check it out. I think it's going to be between Belfast and Worst Person in the World, and I think it really depends on how the night ends. If Belfast wins, in the later major categories, it probably won't win here. However, if it doesn't take home those bigger categories, I think this might kind of be like a brief consolation prize.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Belfast.
Okay. I think that's a solid, knowing what, or assuming maybe what our predictions will be later on. I think that lineup kind of makes sense with what you were just saying there.
Yeah. So let's move away from the writing aspect and go into the visual aspect.
Let's do it.
Best visual effects. So for nominations, we have Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Nice.
So we've seen all these movies.
Yes, I've seen all of those.
A lot of good movies. I think for sure, 100%. Ooh, hold on. I just kind of did a double take here.
100%. Okay.
So not 100%. So I think it's a toss-up between Dune and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay.
I think Dune for sure because it's one of the most beautiful looking films of the year.
Yeah.
And it's definitely going to take home some of the later categories. Yep. I do think because Spider-Man No Way Home was such just a massive, massive film.
Yeah.
There was a big push.
Such a big hit,
by fans to get it like a Best Picture nomination. Clearly that didn't happen.
Don't think it was ever going to happen.
It was never going to happen. No, but there was such just a big influence, and because there were reports of like people like working 7 days a week, like 12-hour days, just to finish the visual effects.
Right. And I mean, they looked great. Good. I mean, I don't think all the visual effects in Shang-Chi landed the way I wanted them to. So I feel like that one, if it's going to be one of the Marvel ones, it's not going to be that one.
Right.
One that I don't want to just blow over here is Free Guy. I think Free Guy had a very interesting art style, and it had a really unique visual effects style. You know what I mean? With that combining of the real world and the video game world. It was very well done, and I think they did a great job. Even like one of the parts that I think of is, when he's like running off the world or whatever, and it's like, it's, the network, they pulled the plug, so it's like just getting destroyed behind him, and, just all the different visual effects, and even like the like paradise at the end and like stuff like that. Yeah. I like that movie a lot, and I think that its visual effects were good, but I don't think it is in the running for me.
And we also have No Time to Die.
Yeah.
Which again had great visual effects.
Some good practical stuff in there, which
absolutely
definitely needs to be commended.
Yeah, I mean so of like kind of the big three that we're talking about, sorry Free Guy, we don't think you're in the running, although we love you very much.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to take it home?
I'm between Spider-Man and Dune.
I am as well. But like they could even like split the votes and then No Time to Die just sneaks in.
Right.
I mean, they literally did like the that like motorcycle jump up the
Yeah,
stairs, like
that was
things like
awesome.
that were practical. This is a surprisingly tough category. I am going to go with.
I'm going Spider-Man. For prediction-wise, I'm going Spider-Man.
I think I'm going to say No Time to Die.
All right.
I'm just going to throw it in there.
All right, let's do it.
I think Spider-Man, like we said, the fan base. This is the only category it was nominated for, and I think Dune is going to get so much love with production design and some of the later categories that we're going to mention. This is a surprisingly interesting category. That's usually not one of the more debatable categories. So that's really interesting. We'll have to see what happens there.
Fun.
Moving from visual to sound. Sound is as important, if not more important, than the visuals.
For sure.
So we have Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, Power of the Dog, and West Side Story.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be.
So I think it's gonna be Dune.
Yeah.
Like the desert landscape, the
really
sandworm, like the spice, the sounds of the spice, like in the wind. Like it was such an atmospheric movie, and the way they built the world and how the sound helped with
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that like one of the biggest, I guess, criticisms of this film is that the story isn't as strong, but it's like really good at world building. And I think that the sound was like a big part of that world building. The sand, the sound of that, and like you said, the spice, and like I really think that I liked the world building in that movie. You know what I mean? Like as an enjoyer, we both enjoy all these cinematic universes, whether whatever it be, and I can't wait to see what they do next with Dune because of the world that they built in this first movie, So, I think I'm going to agree with you on Dune. West Side Story had great sound.
For sure, yeah.
Music was good, sound was good, but I think it's kind of like a freebie to just like give it to the musical, right? So like,
yeah, sure.
I think that Dune used sound in a way that is like Oscar worthy,
Yeah, and even with those giant action scenes, and like those, like the sounds of those like hummingbird like ships that they had that like went like up and down like a million miles a second. But like when I watched this in the theater, I think it was like might have been opening day or opening weekend or something. It was a pretty packed theater, and there was this missile that was shot from one of the ships during like this big invasion action set piece scene, and someone got like so scared because like the seats were shaking that like there was a milk dud that just got launched and hit me in the back of the head.
Oh no.
Yeah, and like it really like it honestly helped like my theatrical experience because I felt like I was in there because I was getting hit. Like
you're part of the battle.
I was a part of the battle. Yeah, I almost did make it out alive.
You almost had to return some fire with some milk duds. Yeah.
I just threw my straw and just hit him. But yeah, the sounds. I mean, that's your typical like need to see this in a theater.
Yeah, for
experience. Sure. And loudest speakers possible.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Dune will most likely take that home. So let's move on to best cinematography. Not to sound like a broken record, but
Dune.
For nominations we have Dune, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Dune.
It's Dune. Yeah, it's Dune for me. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful film, and the way it's like it feels real. It doesn't feel like just big CGI sandworms, even though they are.
Yeah.
They feel real, and this desert like it feels like a real world.
Yeah, it does.
And
again, with the world building, the cinematography is a huge part of what makes that successful.
Like you can feel like the desert heat, and you can feel like the cool like nighttime air, and the cinematography is just absolutely stunning on that film.
It's like almost like every frame could be like your screensaver on your computer. You know what I mean?
That's a great way of putting it.
That's like I was watching the movie and I was like, oh, that would be a cool screensaver. Oh, that would be a cool screensaver. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Like every shot is so deliberate and so almost like a painting, as most beautiful cinematic movies should feel. We have Tragedy of Macbeth in this category. This is a very, very, very stylish film.
Yeah.
Beautiful film. There's one shot with the three witches, and there's like one, and there's a puddle, and you can see like the reflection of the other three. It's one of the most like haunting shots I've seen in a film. Such a well-crafted and really intricate film. And we have Nightmare Alley, which Guillermo del Toro's film. He used, like, even in, like, just close-ups, these gigantic cranes to capture all of these moments. And the camera is, like, always in motion. And it was very, very well crafted. But despite these heavy hitters, it's probably going to be Dune.
Yeah.
It's undeniably a massive film. And surprisingly, as we'll probably talk about later, like, it's in most categories. And yet Denis Villeneuve was snubbed for Best Director.
Yeah.
Which was just a giant question mark.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely going to take home a lot of gold on Oscar night.
Yeah, and I hope so.
Yeah, well deserved, very well deserved. So let's move on to the leading performances. Best leading actor, we have Javier Bardem, Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch, Power of the Dog, Will Smith for King Richard, and we have Denzel Washington for Tragedy Macbeth, and Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom. Who do you think is going to take home the gold?
This is one that I've flip-flopped
Yes.
multiple times the last few days, and it's between Will Smith and Benedict Cumberbatch. And
Absolutely.
I've gone back and forth, back and forth. I literally, on my notes on my phone, have switched it multiple times today. Like, I was like sitting there, and you know, it's hard because I love Benedict Cumberbatch, and he was great in this movie. But Will Smith, see, I feel like I've never seen, like, I mean, you know, there's some movies that Will Smith's amazing in, and then there's Gemini Man, and there's Bright, and it's, you know what I mean? So I feel like I've been, like, not the biggest fan of him because of movies like Gemini Man, Bright, or whatever. But, like, this performance just blew me away, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I don't know if it's because, like, I always expect the best from Benedict Cumberbatch, and even that was exceeded when in Power of the Dog. But I was just blown away by both these performances. What do you have to say about these two?
I completely agree with you. I keep going back and forth. I would love to see Benedict Cumberbatch win, because this is just such an incredible and, like, profound performance that's so subtle and so explosive at the same time. Before I even saw the film, I saw a tweet, and this is what really piqued my interest about the film, was that someone tweeted, "I never thought playing the banjo could be sinister until I saw Benedict Cumberbatch in Power of the Dog." And then I watched it, I was like, oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
And he was amazing, but I do think it's Will Smith's time.
Yeah.
He has been in a lot of great stuff, like Pursuit of Happiness. He was incredible in that film.
He's so good in that film.
And he's been working a huge, huge name, one of, like, the last movie stars in Hollywood. And he's been working for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think it's really his time to shine. He's won the Golden Globe. He's won the SAG Award. He is the front runner.
That's the one I got down.
And Benedict Cumberbatch, he's incredible. He's always incredible. But I think, you know, he's got some more performances in him.
Yes.
He's younger than Will Smith, I think.
Yeah.
Especially now now seeing this film, we can see, like, his range is even wider than we thought.
Yeah.
So I think, I do think it's going to be Will Smith to take home.
After the flip-flopping of the notes, I did land on Will Smith.
Yeah.
It was so good. And, Pursuit of Happiness he's amazing in that. And I think it was great to see how well he did in this film, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it's King Richard. It's really, like, his film. And Serena and Venus Williams, you know, like, when people first, like, heard that this was going to be a movie, they're like, why are you telling their story without them? But the way that they kind of, like, really credited their father with, like, and the way he stepped into their shoes and even got praise from Serena and Venus, saying, like, wow, that was, like, that's the highest praise you can get, saying that, like, you were King Richard. So I think
one thing that I think would sting a little bit is if Power of the Dog does dominate and Benedict's, like, the only one who like doesn't, you know what I mean? That would feel bad because he is that movie, you know what I mean? So that would sting a little bit to see it win in, like, every other category, and then, you know what I mean? And then Benedict gets snubbed. But I do think Will Smith deserves this, and I think it's his time, like you said.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Best Leading Actress. Now, this one, for me, is just the only one where, like, it could literally be anyone.
I completely agree. I had, like, no idea.
It's a complete
what I was going to pick here, and, like, I'm not even sure about this one that I ended up landing on.
This this has been like the reason this awards season has felt so long to me because in the beginning, Kristen Stewart, she's Spencer. Oh my God, Spencer, have you seen the trailer? Kristen Stewart, Princess Diana. It's going to be amazing. And then she isn't nominated for a Golden Globe.
Yeah.
And she's snubbed from SAG, and everyone's like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
what had happened? And then Nicole Kidman wins Golden Globe. So for nominations, we have Jessica Chastain, Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Coleman, The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz, Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. So Kristen Stewart was really at the top of everyone's list before, like right around when the movie came out, probably like in November.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Nicole Kidman was the front runner.
Yeah.
And then at the SAG Awards, Jessica Chastain wins.
Yeah.
And it's just like everyone is getting a lot of love here. And then there's Olivia Coleman, who's one of my favorite actresses of all time. She's so good. She's one of those actresses that like she can just like look at you and then like she can make you laugh or cry.
Right.
She's so good at what she does. She was just incredible in The Father, and this is no exception here with The Lost Daughter. And Kristen Stewart, like a lot of people were really happy that she got the nomination, and that's such a huge accomplishment. But because she lost a lot of steam with SAG and Golden Globes, I don't think she's going to win.
So,
But then again, she could.
I feel like this is the one every year. There's that one award that you like comes out of nowhere, right? And I think it's this one. I think it's Kristen Stewart. I'm going on. This is like a very risky prediction,
Okay.
but I think she's gonna take it. I think it's gonna be so split that it's gonna be like everyone has so few votes, and I think she's gonna like edge above. And I don't know. That's the one that just like that performance was really good.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you can like show the issues with marriage and like it was just such a good performance from her, and I really enjoyed it. And it's so hard to say. And like I said, I'm still unsure about this one, but I think this is the one that I'm like most unsure about. But I think I'd be very happy if I got this right because it's such like a risky prediction. But I think that's the one I'm gonna land on.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people were upset that Lady Gaga wasn't nominated for House of Gucci. And she was far and away the best part of that movie. Wasn't a great movie.
No.
But anyway, she was phenomenal in it. And she was great in A Star Is Born too.
Yeah, I don't even think that was. I love Adam Driver, but
Yes.
I don't even know if that was his best.
No.
You know what I mean?
He was. He wasn't. He's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
And his performance, and I think it was mostly due to the writing of the film, was kind of all over the place.
I completely agree.
He wasn't given any favors. Penelope Cruz, fantastic performance. She has worked with this director a lot of times.
Oh, okay.
And her husband is in the other category, Javier Bardem. She could honestly, like you said, the votes are kind of like split.
Yeah.
She could edge out. I wouldn't be too surprised. Nicole Kidman, Lucille Ball, that's like an incredible role. And she got the voice down pat, far and away. And behind the scenes, I think she definitely like captured her energy. But a big takeaway that a lot of people had was like it didn't feel like Lucy. Because that's not really the Lucille Ball that we know. We know the exaggerated sitcom, like huge expressive face. And that wasn't really featured in this movie because that's not the story they were trying to tell.
Right.
So that might kind of deter voters a little bit, maybe, that it wasn't real. It didn't feel necessarily like the Lucy that we know and love. I think it's going to be Jessica Chastain.
Okay. I think that's a safe bet. Yeah.
It was a complete transformation. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh, wow, that's Jessica Chastain. I didn't know about this person at all, Tammy Faye. I didn't know about her series that she did with her husband. I had no idea about the story. But it was a complete transformation, a lot of makeup done, and she just inhabited this person, much like Will Smith did with King Richard. So I think it's going to be her. But then again, it's funny because I actually underlined Nicole Kidman because she was my prediction.
Oh, yeah.
But looking at it now, I'm going to say Jessica Chastain.
I think that, that's a good bet. I would not be. I think out of all these, I would not be surprised. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I still think that it's up in the air. Like, I don't think it's a surefire. Like, I think Will Smith pretty much has it. I would be pretty surprised if he didn't. And I would be even more surprised if it wasn't him or Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
But I think with this one, it really is going to... We'll be holding our breath until they announce that, you know what I mean, to see who it is. So.
All right, we are moving away from performances, and now we're going to get back behind the camera. Best Director. For nominations, we have Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Rizuke Hamaguchi, apologies, I probably butchered the name, for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson, Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. So this was a stacked category. It's amazing that Steven Spielberg's in there, because it's just undeniable how well of a film West Side Story is. No one wanted this film, but he made it because he's always wanted to make a musical, and it blew everyone away. He can move a camera like it's no one's business. And the fact that he was nominated in this this very competitive category is something to be proud of in and of itself. But that being said, he's not my pick. I think it's going to be Jane Campion for Power of the Dog.
That's who I have as well. Yeah.
So she has she's won Oscar Gold before.
Yes.
And this would be the first time in Oscars history where a woman had won Best Director back-to-back. Because, of course, last year we had Nomadland winning Best Director. So I do think it's going to be her. But I have been going back and forth on this one, primarily because usually Best Director and Best Picture go hand in hand. We've seen it with Nomadland. It's usually the way things go. I think this year's going to be different. I think because we have a film like Belfast that is so beloved by many, myself included, but it's also so kind of polarizing at the same time.
Right.
And Power of the Dog is just an undeniably beautiful, powerful film.
Yeah.
I think that Jane Campion will win Best Director because she's very clearly the spearhead of this movie. And I think Belfast is going to win Best Picture.
Okay.
I think those two categories are going to be split. And if Power of the Dog does win Best Picture, and I think it very well could because it's just such a good movie, and as we can see in all the other categories, it keeps popping up because it's such a well-crafted film. I think Kenneth Branagh might win for Best Director. I think those might be split. Kenneth Branagh, I don't think he's won any Oscars before, and this was a very personal story to him. I think it's undeniably his best film, and I think that he's going to get some recognition, if not for Best Director and Picture, probably in the Screenplay category. But I think we've seen it with Argo and Ben Affleck, where Argo wins Best Picture, and Ben Affleck didn't win Best Director. He actually wasn't even nominated, which was kind of crazy. But that's my prediction. I think Best Picture is Belfast, and Best Director is Jane Campion for Power of the Dog.
All right. I have Jane Campion as well for Best Director, but I also have Power of the Dog for Best Picture. I do think that it has the chops to win both. Belfast was great, and I think that is definitely the only one on this list that's really a threat to Power of the Dog for me. I mean, we could have something come out of left field here, but I mean, looking at these, I don't think it's going to be Don't Look Up. I don't really think it's going to be Dune. I don't really think it's going to be Licorice Pizza. I think that it's going to be one of those two, and the Power of the Dog, it's just... It was so good, and I really think that, we're film students, and, those are big film critics, and big, I think that it spoke to, I think it hits that mark,
Yeah, this is a film to study for sure.
Yes, for sure.
I would really love it to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Because, it's just undeniably good.
Yeah.
But I think that it would be a shame if Jane Campion didn't win Best Director, just to spotlight her specifically, because she's such a fantastic director, and she's been in this business for a long time.
And seeing the behind the scenes with her, have you watched some of the stuff? It's Netflix. So interesting. You know what I mean? And she's just, the way she works is so cool. And you even see all, the set photos of her and Benedict Cumberbatch. You can tell they're both so into it. You know what I mean?
And props to her, because to get into the character, Benedict Cumberbatch, didn't shower for a while. So
Yeah.
props to her for standing next to him for
Yeah.
a while. No, but it's just such a good film. And the way that they collaborated, and even in the writing process, like
Yeah.
in that behind the scenes that you were talking about, like she went to like a dream therapist and
Right.
really started like going to the like subconscious to get like
Yeah.
inspiration and ideas.
So cool.
And I think like when we talk about Power of the Dog, the two names that come up are Benedict Cumberbatch and Jane Campion.
Yeah.
This is their movie. And like we said, we would love Benedict to win, but we don't think it's his year yet.
Yeah.
I think that we have to specifically spotlight Jane Campion.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And whether that's Best Director, Best Picture, or both,
Yeah.
we shall see.
I would be shocked if Power of the Dog didn't win either director or best picture.
As would I,
would be
yeah.
very, very surprised. I think it's at least taking home one, but my prediction says both.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I've checked a lot of like Variety's predictions, and
Okay.
Belfast has been on the top for a while.
Yeah.
But Power of the Dog is right under it.
Yeah.
And I do think it's a toss-up, but I think because Belfast, like, a lot of people have complained about the editing and
Yeah.
the way that, like, that it kind of, like, it didn't really, like, the horrifying hard moments didn't hit as well as they should have.
Mhm.
It felt like it kind of shied away from that.
Sure.
That's been a lot of critic perspective, but I think that because, you know, it's his story, he's telling kind of his own view.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of a reason for it. But because it's kind of like a lot of people really, really didn't like the film,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to win Best Picture. But I also can't see it because a lot of the issues are focused on Kenneth Branagh and the way he told the story. So I can't see him getting praised as Best Director over Jane Campion.
Right. Yeah.
So that's
I would
why-
hate to see it go home with no gold. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? I
for
think
sure.
Belfast needs something. I just don't know where that's going to be. You know?
Yeah, I think it's probably, I think it might win Best Picture. Just say like, this is our Oscar movie, it's our Best Picture, our Best Director, and our Best, you know, adapted screenplay. Jane Campion, Power of the Dog, you're a legend. Here's your gold.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, this is a pretty crazy season. Even
Yeah.
the ones that we think for sure they might get the rug pulled out from under them.
Yeah.
Think about, you know, last year with Chadwick Boseman and
I
Anthony
know,
Hopkins.
Wow. Well, wasn't that crazy?
It was incredibly surprising.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, Anthony
It
Hopkins
was
deserved that
such a good
Oscar.
performance.
Like, I think even like
I think
right up
that's
there
his-
with Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
It's the Oscars. They can be incredibly surprising.
Yes.
We have hosts for the first time in a couple years. We have 3 hosts with Amy Schumer, Regina Hall, and Wanda Sykes.
That's gonna be interesting.
That'll be interesting to see how. And so it's like we haven't had hosts. Now, let's
3.
not have one host. Let's
Yeah,
have 3, and each
that's-
of them are going to get a different hour
Oh, okay.
because
All right,
that's going to
how they're
make the
doing it.
telecast go by faster.
Right.
And also, they have cut. They're not airing 4 categories, and they've caught a lot of flack for that. I believe costume design and the
Oh.
sound categories won't be featured live in the telecast.
That's weird.
Yeah, and like, you know, the people, not a lot of people are watching the Oscars. Their ratings have been dropping
They've
steadily
been
for
bad.
a long time.
Even some people who are like streaming reactions get more views than the actual.
Yeah.
You know, because people are more interested in hearing the commentary or hearing them
Sure,
trash
yeah.
on whatever.
And like, it's like, who thought it was a good idea? Like, the people that are watching it, the small few, are people that love film.
Right.
So why would we cut categories?
Yeah, exactly.
And not, you know, kind of
And if
celebrate
you're
film?
giving 3 hours, if you're like specifying, you get an hour, you get an hour, you get an
Yeah.
hour, like how is there not time to fit in all? You know what I mean?
I completely agree.
And that's just weird. I didn't love the way the telecast went last year. Like it
No, it was
was weird.
strange.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I think mostly like due to COVID.
Right. Sure.
I hope now that won't be as much of an issue. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. We're kind of coming out of this.
Hopefully.
I think fingers crossed. I think the 2020 Oscars where Joker was nominated
Yeah.
and
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix
Yeah.
won, and that year I think that was the best Oscars I've seen.
Yeah. That was a
because
fun
that
one
like
to watch,
it was
yeah.
fun. It
Yeah.
felt like a celebration of film. Like even
Right.
in the script categories, like we had someone read the script and we saw like the scene come to life.
Yeah.
And it showed.
That was when
like,
it showed like the words of the
Yeah,
script on the screen.
exactly.
That was
yes.
really cool. Yeah.
And for like best original score, we had like a live orchestra
Yeah.
play the films. Like it felt like a celebration of film,
And
we
that's
haven't
what it
gotten
should be. You know
exactly.
what I mean? It shouldn't just be like reading off a list when you could just
Yeah.
release a list at that point. You know what I mean?
And it shouldn't feel like the snotty celebration of like, ooh, I have a trophy.
Right,
Like
yeah.
it should feel like we recognize those who care about film and who excel in it.
Yeah.
These are them. Let's celebrate them and have a fun time.
Yeah.
I hope that our hosts can do that this year.
Mm-hmm.
My fingers are crossed. And you know, we'll see. But I really hope that we get back to the 2020 times of, well,
Yeah.
I've never said that before.
Oh.
The pre-COVID 2020 times where life was going real good for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Of where like it felt like this was a celebration for film. And with films like Power of the Dog and Belfast and Drive My Car and Coda, these films, you know, I hope that we feel the love for all these films.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope, I hope all these films get a little bit of love, a little bit
Yeah.
of gold. You know?
Yeah. And, you know, I hope that the thing that I love most about the Oscars is when the categories are announced and we see snippets of the performance.
Yeah.
Or when we spotlight the Best Picture nominations. Like, this is Coda. Like, stuff
Yeah.
like that. As long as those are, like, well edited and they, you know, that's, like, the biggest issue for me. Like,
Yeah.
when they announce, like, the Best Actor category and they don't show anything.
Yeah, or they
I
show
hate
like
that.
not even like their best scene. Like it's
Yeah.
like, oh, could have picked a way better scene
Yeah.
to show. You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean,
one that did that well. I think Marriage Story did a good job. Where like, they
Yes.
showed like really good scenes. And I was like, nice.
Yeah.
That's what like that's good. You know?
yeah. I just hope the montages are strong and,
Yeah.
you know,
They have to be.
that's what makes it for me.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people watch the Oscars who haven't seen every film, and
Sure.
you want to, show like the winning. Like
Yeah.
you should be able to go and watch this, and have not seen any of the films.
And
Like
get
you,
a vibe.
like that should be the assumption that the audience has seen none of these films, and this one clip needs to say, okay, this is why they got Best Actor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think that needs to kind of be the mindset.
I totally agree. Fingers crossed, March 27th, we will be there. Let's see if we got our predictions right. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you for watching this special episode of Movie Time with Nat and Derek, and we'll see you next time.